I think this is Old Man Sharing number 5. I had pages of notes that I've accumulated over time, all dealing with the topic of how do you deal with the differences of opinions that occur in all parts of our life at this stage of the game. Vaccination, no vaccination, mining, no mining, left, right, and we're going to have disagreements. 2 things I will share a little bit later, but we need to know truth, but we have to have love, and I'll finish with that. Started the day, Nancy McCready sent me a message and asked if I had connected the song Anchor's Hold to the picture she was looking at, and the answer was no. It had been one of those magical pop-ups that we'll see on Facebook or YouTube as we venture around. A song I had heard but had forgotten about, and she linked the video to what is called The Story Behind the Anchor Holds. A great story. I'll go into detail. The whole thing is there, but a pastor who actually was broken. He hit the wall. Started with a number of little things, building up to bigger things, and then finally it was the 3rd child that his wife had lost on a miscarriage. And as he stood holding that little 13-month-old baby boy in his hand, he became broken to a point of depression, broken to a point of, I believe he called it, he had a term for it, it was the something in the dark, and the dark night of the soul. And you feel no good. You don't feel the presence of the Lord. You get no joy in anything. And sometimes that's the case. More often, we are broken by a series of little events that aren't nearly as tragic as that. But we get to a point where we just don't feel any positive things. There's just nothing that's quite right. We don't feel the presence of the Lord. We don't feel the love from the family. We don't feel the things that we had been before. And in the midst of that, he wrote a song, and it's Anchor, the Anchor Holds. And this will be maybe the 4th time in the series that I've talked about how being broken is a really good thing. And it has happened a number of times in my life. Some I've shared, there's still others that I haven't. And when we do that, where we turn is important. And knowing that the Lord is in the midst of all of that, the Anchor Holds says, I've journeyed through the long night out in the open sea by faith alone, sight alone, and yet your eyes were watching me. The anchor holds, and this is the part that actually does take place. Though the ship is battered, the anchor holds. Though the sails are torn, I have fallen on my knees as I face the raging seas. The anchor holds in spite of the storm. I've had visions and I've had dreams. I've even held them in my hand, but I never knew they would slip right through like they were grains of sand. I've been young, here's mine, but I'm now old. There has been beauty these eyes have seen, but it's in the night through the storm of my life. Oh, that's where God proved his love for me. The anchor holds. Don't know why this keeps coming up in my conversations, but maybe one of the most important lessons in life is when that happens, you look up and then you look around. You look up and ask, God help me. In the instant, the answer is not always instant, but you look left and right, and we are blessed in so many ways, and may you not forget that. I'll finish as we're approaching that 5-minute mark, and I'm becoming more of a pastor and sneaking over that a little bit. The last couple I didn't count because some other things came up, but I'll finish with this and start again. When we have controversy with people, we are not asked, we are commanded to love. We are commanded to love those that we hate, and we must start at that point. If that's the case, then of course we can begin to make ground as we begin to show our love. We are a peculiar people, and that peculiar is doing things that the world doesn't, and that is to show love to those that we can't show love to, but with the help of the Lord that we can. I loved what Marty Shenander shared at church as he's going through his pastorate, and that is we should follow a 90-10 procedure. I follow that with redfish fishing. I can't wait to get out there and get those fish, but 90% of the fish are in 10% of the area. But this is a different 90-10. When we have something we are so passionate about, we should be 90% sure, but we should have 10% humility that allows us to listen to what the other side has to say. I'll talk more about that. And the final thing is, where you encounter the debate with people, stay away from social media. There's no way you can ever accomplish anything by having a debate on social media. There's no reply. You can't see the eyes of the people. The same holds where you're in a group of people and the conversation is not one-on-one or two-on-four, or as the group increases in size, very seldom can you really see what the people are thinking as you are sharing your point, and they have no time to respond. And so all of a sudden, I think the sermon I heard recently is, don't beat people up with the truth. Love them and share the truth, but don't use it as a weapon. And that so often happens when we get all fired up about our thoughts and our beliefs. I'll share more on those things down the way, but thanks for listening. I appreciate you kids and you adults, and till next time.